These theories will make you question everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check it out.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other.
Is this hitting y'all like it's hitting me? I'm just making sure, because I can't see what y'all are saying right now in the comment section. But I just need to know, is this hitting y'all like it's hitting me?
And can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied. Build a society around them in which those who have money benefit and those who don't fail. Make money their main focus, but make it so difficult to accumulate that they remain in a place of constant struggle, forced to dedicate the majority of their time to the system that made it this way.
That give you goosebumps and chills, man. The entire time she's speaking, I'm listening so hard, but at the same time, my whole life is flashing before my eyes. With each quote, with each message, with each word that she says out of her mouth, I can point back to a time in my life. Even when she's saying, you know, with the whole money and the struggle, make money the focus, but made it so hard to obtain that you're in a constant struggle. A constant struggle. How many of us feel like sometimes we're in that rat race and it feels like sometimes it's so close, but then it pulls away from us? All other times it feels like it's so far away that it's just unattainable.
Tax them in every way possible, but tell them that it's for their own benefit so that they don't think twice about paying it. Take so much of their time and energy throughout the week, but give them 2 days to themselves so that they feel a sense of reward and don't fight back. Promote the consumption of poison in every social setting so that even on those 2 days, they remain disconnected from themselves and each other. Pump their food with excess sugars and addictive chemicals, but make it cheap, advertised, and easily accessible so that they never stop consuming. When their food makes them ill, prescribe them medication that only masks the symptoms so that they become dependent on it every day. Charge them so much money for healthcare so that they stay in a constant loop of consuming, medicating, and working. Cause chaos amongst them and blame it on a group of their own so that they form judgmental stereotypes. Turn them against each other in so many ways so that even if they were to connect on one, they would still be divided by another.
Fam, I almost want to end the video right. What can beat that? What video we watch today, tomorrow, or in the near future right now? And I'm not saying it's nothing, but it's going to be hard to top what she just said, bro. What she just said. Hold on, man. I had to go back through some of this. Where's the one about the species? And she started this as the best way to gain control of the most intelligent on the powerful species on the planet. Creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it's wrong to be yourself. And how often do we preach and we tell each other, bro, we got to keep telling ourselves, it's okay to be yourself. That's what makes you unique. Keep going. Confuse them about their own biological makeup. so that they think permanently altering their body is the answer. How many times have we discussed the whole people getting these surgeries and different things like that? I think the wake up was when Kanye's mom, that whole situation, I thought it would slow people down, but it didn't. People are still having countless and countless plastic surgeries, bro. Let's go through one more. Oh, this one here. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend the institution from age 5 until adult, and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past, and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them the tragedies on the news. Like, oh my God. Like, fam, that's the story of our lives right there, bro. And if we don't unplug ourselves out of Matrix and wake up, I don't know, man, where we're gonna be. But we can already see the road we're traveling down ain't good.
Okay, this might not make sense, but just hear me out, okay? Does anyone else ever think about the fact that we are trained to believe life is like a circle and it's a cycle and we're constantly in cycles all the time? But in reality, it's more linear, like point of birth. You are just walking to death every day, which is sad, but it's just the truth, you know? But we are trained to believe that it is a cycle and a circle. Like, we are always waiting for Friday every week. New Year, it's the new circle thing, okay, right? And it's so obvious. It's so obvious that it's to help the economy, to help businesses, and keep us in this world where we're always working. Because think about it. You would be like, okay, I'll just do it this weekend, whatever, you know? For the cycle. But then if you lived your life based on linear life, you wouldn't wait till the weekend because you're like, I'm just getting closer to death, I'm gonna do it now. But that doesn't work in a business world, right? So yeah, and if you need more proof of that, what shape is the clock? A circle. Feeds you into the idea of the cycle. Okay, this might not make sense.
It does make sense because we often question, is time real? Does it really exist? You know what I mean? Like, we often question that, even in science world, even when you're talking about space and different things, time constantly gets brought up and how it plays a part in everything. So that's the interesting part about it, you know? And going back to what old girl said a little while ago in the beginning, in that first vid, about how we're thrown into this cycle, and it's kind of like drilled into us in school. You're put on that routine: wake up, go to school, come home, repeat. Wake up, go to school, come home, repeat. And what is that preparing you for? Exactly, the working industry. Wake up, go to work, come home, do it again. School, you had the weekend. You got out Friday, you was happy about it. Monday show up, you're dreading it Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, because you know Monday's coming. But we were conditioned for that. You get out in the real world, most jobs, not all, because you have a weekend job. But you work most jobs Monday through Friday, Friday off, you're excited for the weekend, Sunday comes, you're dreading the start of the week. So that circle of life, like the Lion King said, you know what I mean? We've been bred for it. We've been bred for it. Now, that's one thing I can say about this new generation, that they're kind of breaking out because you see more of them kind of working for themselves, doing different things, becoming different things, streaming or whatever they're doing to make money outside of the normal, what we were taught. Go to school, graduate, get you a job, retire, and live off of that. And struggle the entire time.
How old are you?
Well, there's virtual age and actual age. My virtual age is how I look, what I appear to be in this physical body. So my physical body, even though I get told I don't look my age, would appear to be 48. My actual age, I'm going to be turning 83 this year. So you have to add in the 20-year tour of duty plus over a decade of the period when I was in training. So there's over 30 years of extra time and experience that I participated in that my body doesn't show because I was put back into a younger version of myself when I was 37.
How old are you?
So interesting. Based off his way he calculates things, you know, let's take what we physically look like, right? Opposed to what we've been through and different things we've gone through that could add years on to our life. You know what I mean? Whether you did a stressful job, that could tack on anything that stresses you probably could tack on several years to your life. So what do y'all think your actual age is? What is your actual age? You know what I mean? Maybe you had a job to where it was back-breaking work. And you did that job for 10, 20, 30 years. So now you're 65, 70. You probably think you about 100 and something. Everything you've been through and done. Being in the sun on a roof or something like that, outside, blistering cold. And then different situations that have happened in your life. Maybe you went through a divorce. Maybe you did this and experienced this. This could have added years onto your life. So what do y'all think your actual age is? Put it in the comment section. Interesting.
Welcome to a brief history on creation, how the human being was made. In the beginning of time, there was an urge to be that we don't quite understand. The power of God entered into this universe, much the way an egg is fertilized in the womb. As above, so below, as within, so without. The original womb was impregnated with light, or the prima materia. Notice that photon light moves a lot like those little squiggly guys that go into the egg and make a baby. This light beyond light, which wasn't exactly photons, but it's like the higher version of photons, came into space-time and disrupted it, causing frequency, which gave rise to particles. Because of this amazing miracle, which was the creation of the universe, 18 subatomic particles, 2 fundamental forces, 2 secondary forces, 3-dimensional space, moving through time was created, giving us the divine chessboard of creation. Now you're wondering about that checkerboard in the Freemason paintings, aren't you? Now we have the pieces on the board. Those are the 18 subatomic particles. We have the rules of the game. Those are the fundamental forces. And we have the board to play on, 4th dimensional space-time. These 26 variables began to interact with one another and give rise to more and more complexity in our universe. And just like a giant box of Legos, if you shake it long enough, things will start to form. For a while, things formed together and then came back apart because everything was unstable. Structures will be built and then deconstructed over time, until, of course, DNA was created. And for a while, all this would occur naturally. That's until you get to us. Our early ancestors, high primates, would be edited by advanced civilizations. You can call me crazy if you want, but all the ancient writings talk about the people who came from heaven and changed us and made us into human beings. It doesn't take away from the divine nature of our being. It's just part of our story. There are advanced beings out there and sometimes they edit DNA. And now here we are, human beings, constantly being edited and changed and shaped by this higher civilization. Everything checks out, everything adds up, evolution is intact, science is intact, religion is intact, and we just have to deal with the fact that there are higher advanced civilizations, both interdimensional and celestial. Welcome to a brief history on...
I need to hear more. You know what I mean? He sounds, and it ain't even about how he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but it just doesn't align with everything from history I've been learning about. You know? He does kind of allude to something similar to like a simulation or a matrix or something like that. But you gotta go in depth with matter, energy, how it's created and different things like that. And it's just like he kind of tried to shrink it down and speed it up into something. No. Like I said, I have a lot of questions for him as far as this history of creation goes, his theory, but it just doesn't align with some of the things we've been learning from religion, science, different things like that, you know? So
for essentially our entire existence, we have questioned, where did we come from? One of the leading theories is something called Panspermia. Panspermia is the idea that life on Earth originated elsewhere in the universe. It suggests that microorganisms or even entire alien species could have hitched a ride on asteroids or comets and crash landed into Earth. So why is this?
See, that's what I feel like is going on now. The different species and stuff we see in the ocean and stuff like that, we're seeing around our planet, and things that just don't look right to us, I feel like are coming to our planets from meteors and different things like that. And when it hits the ocean, it adapts. When it hits land and stays there with no body of water surrounding it, I feel like it adapts. And that's how we see some of the things that we see and we're dealing with.
Is this important? Panspermia suggests that life may be vastly more widespread out there in the universe than we originally thought. It also suggests that the origin of life is not dependent to the environment that existed in early Earth, and that broadens our possibilities of where we should be looking for life elsewhere in the universe. After all, if it's just us, it seems like an awful big waste of space. For essentially our entire
I think it's funny, just like the dude that spoke before now. To hear people speak about this now and freely, I think is a huge testament to where we are. Think back. Bro, several years back, you talk about this stuff like this, you'd be called all kind of different crazy wackos, nutcases. People would try to have you committed. They would try to mute your mic, your voice in a sense, and not let you speak up and speak about this stuff. So to see how far we've come, the freedom in which we are allowed to say certain things, somewhat, is just a testament, man. It really is to how far we've come, but we still got a long ways to go. And it seems like everybody is searching for answers, whether it be origins of life or whatever.
Are you ready to piece this together with me? If you've ever wondered why the 13th astrological sign Ophiuchus has been hidden, or why we know nothing about the silver and golden gates, you're going to want to watch this video. So, as I discussed in a previous episode, the Catholic Church actually has an emblem called the Keys of Heaven. And they represent the metaphorical keys of the office of St. Peter, the keys of heaven, the keys of the kingdom. So my question is why did the church hide this knowledge from us, but yet use it within their emblem? Well, the ancient Greeks believed that souls reside in the Milky Way between incarnation, and that there are two gates, the silver gate of Gemini, through which souls descend to earth, and the golden gate of Sagittarius, through which souls ascend. What's interesting is the silver gate leads to reincarnation and ancestors, and the golden gate leads beyond reincarnation. Now let's investigate why this is hidden. According to Greek legends, Ophiuchus, as Asclepius, was unalived by Zeus because he was on his way to bring a healing herb to humanity, which would have given them immortality and the ability to raise people from the afterworld. And what's crazy is I said in a previous video that this story actually ties to a poem, the Epic of Gilgamesh. We need to also realize that the Bible could be allegories about astronomical events because the ancients believed Orion's belt was the universal umbilical cord, and they called these people Orion thinking man or original man. This cord's also the ethereal pathway connecting the original man of wisdom with his divine parent. And when the sun aligns with the galactic center where Ophiuchus is located, this will complete the Holy Trinity, the Mother, Father, and the Child. Because they knew to enter the gate of man means death to yourself, which is ego death. It talks about how we merge the light and dark, how we move through the next doorway, which is Ophiuchus, and is exactly 180 degrees opposite of Orion. He's a serpent bearer, and we unify serpent Kundalini, and we become resurrected. Just like the story of Jesus. And Ophiuchus represents that. 12 disciples plus Christ, Ophiuchus equals 13. So I want to point out something interesting, because if you see, demons were code words for stars. Even the Mayans knew about this. And it's represented on our $1 bill. But they knew about the awakening and the third eye awakening. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like and follow for more.
Dang. So when I'm looking at the stars, or you're talking to the stars, or making a wish on a star, would that be considered you're making a wish to a demon or something like that? Interesting. And then, like she said earlier, when she compared stories of the Bible to astrological events, we've often seen, people don't like to say it though, but throughout comparisons in history of the Bible to different things, we've made those comparisons with different astrological events and stuff like that. So that's why I try to have a mixed balance, not so much a mixed balance, but I like to toss in the religious stuff in there as well. You know what I mean? As much as I can, without trying to offend, just trying to create dialogue and see where I can find the comparisons at when we're speaking about space or astrological events or different things like that in history to the Bible and what it says, and see where the correlations lie, if any. So when I'm looking and I'm searching, I'm trying to get perspective from both viewpoints. That's all. And I'm not trying to make a decision. That decision is ultimately on you, not me. You have to make those decisions for yourself. I'm just trying to find information and present it to you.
Welcome to theories about the universe that may or may not change your entire perspective on life. Warning, potential existential crisis incoming. So this first one says that if someone were to figure out exactly what the universe was and what its purpose was, then it would just poof and come back as something even more peculiar, and as an extension, maybe this has already happened and it's just a vicious cycle. There's a theory that our universe is just one single atom, and all of the atoms that we're made up of are also smaller universes, and this scale is infinite. Carl, I don't even think I understand this one, and I honestly don't even know if it makes sense, so bear with me. So some people theorize that time is just one giant loop, and as it goes around and around, we advance more and more. So for example, the pyramids were actually built in our version of the future, but it was actually the beginning of the previous loop. This would explain why we can't figure out exactly how they were built. This one just makes my brain hurt. I'm curious to know what other people think. And finally, the meaning of life is for the universe to experience itself. Welcome to theories about...
I ain't gonna lie, I'm just like her sometimes too. Sometimes you have to like walk away from it because it'll drive you insane. It'll make your brain hurt. Sometimes you'll feel like it's oozing out of your ears. Sometimes you'll feel like you took 5 steps forward and 100 steps back. You feel like you didn't gain any information or get any information out of it. You're hitting dead ends and different things like that. But that's just nature of the beast. That is just the nature of the beast. And also she doubled back to what we were talking about again earlier. Time. Is it relevant? Is it real? Does it exist? Are we in this cycle? That keeps getting brought up. You notice that?
Yo, check it. This is about to be one of my most important videos I'm gonna make, so pay close attention to what I gotta say. I'm about to explain from my perspective the creation and the hierarchy of the underworld, so I can have a better standing of the overall takeover, and why people believe Yahweh and Jesus is the All-Father, the one true living God. I try to make this simple by using 10 frequencies. Number 1 is a true living God, the All-Father of all things. Number 2 is a living God's chosen ones that was made in his image, which is us. Number 3 consists of the Pleiadians and the Greys. These are the original entities before any other subspecies or creations of the underworld. meaning everything in heaven are gods of the underworld. The Ba-Ba-El was made by underworld gods and the Elohim to re-legion you to their army. On the bottom is the...
And he said the Greys. You heard that, right? Just making sure y'all picked up on that too.
The list of the underworld planet ships and the god names associated with them. Imagine having multiple bodies and one is a star, because we are light. So on this list, the first name will be their higher self when they ascended in frequency towards heaven during our fall in frequency into the abyss, which is a black hole that was created during our fall. Y'all may know it as the black hole sun. This is why they had to recreate heaven on earth and time to take us from eternity, so we wouldn't know that we are prisoners of war. Also, the rest of the names, which is our lower selves, think of it like it's their straw man. This is where they get it from, folks. Now, you can change these names around and their stories, I guarantee you, is all going to match up and make sense. So I'm about to explain the creation by using the 7 underworld planets. We have Mercury, which is Jesus, Nanner, Horus, and Lucifer. Venus, which is Mary Magdalene, Inanna, Isis, and Lilith. Mars, Archangel Michael, Marduk, Ra, Azazel. Jupiter, St. Peter, Enlil, Osiris, Baal. Saturn, Apostle John, and Set and Satan. Uranus, Roxelana, Tiamat, Nama, and Eve. Neptune, Apostle Paul, Enki, Ea, Amon, Yahweh, Apsu, and Atom. This is God El. Y'all may know him as Jacob or Yakub. He started the creation of the underworld. This is why they worship him as God, because he originated in heaven. So he is technically a god to the underworld, but specifically their father, because he created them. But our father created him. So God El created Neptune, which is fresh water. The god of Neptune associated names is Apostle Paul, Saul, Adam, Yahweh, Amon, Apsu, Enki, Ea. All is the same spirit. So Neptune created Mars, which is chaos and war. This is when things spiraled out of control. The god names associated with this planet is Marduk, Ra, Azazel. All is the same spirit as well. So Amen and Ra, which is Neptune and Mars, is the first creations of the underworld. They are literal magical dragons, nowhere near the image of man. This is why every planet in creation afterwards became more and more man-like, because they started off as dragons, hence the reptilians. This is why we're prisoners of war, because they are still trying to perfect their recreation of the image of the one living God. So Mars created Uranus. Y'all may know as goddess Tiamat or Eve, which is salt water. She went full circle and married her grandfather, who is also Adam. This is Adam and Eve. This is why we have the UN today. It means Uranus Neptune, but I'm sure most of y'all know them as the United Nations. So back to this. Look at the top right hand corner. You will notice that the underworld hierarchy is reversed from our point of view. Uranus and Neptune is separated because it's the first creation and the wife, and the covens of Azazel, which was created by Mars through war and chaos. So back to this. Mars then created Shu, which is air, and Tefnut, which is moisture. Then those two created Earth, which is Jeb, Lahamu, and Kenzar. Also, it created the sky, which is Nut, Lamu, and Ansar. So now we have ingredients to allow physical formation of bodies. So from the sky and earth, it created Enlil, which is Jupiter, Lilith, which is Venus, Satan, which is Saturn, Nethys, which is death. This is where we get the Nephilim from. It means reanimated bodies or dead entities. These four created two paths, which is good and evil. Jupiter and Venus created Mercury. So I want y'all to notice that Venus and Jupiter had a conjunction recently. That's what happened when Mercury was created, which is Jesus, the closest creation to God and the guide to heaven. Also duality, the separation of heaven and the underworld. The issue here though is that they are trying to recreate another middle ground / reality to save themselves from the karmic debt from the enslavement of mankind. So back to Satan, which is Saturn, and Nethys, which is death. They created Anubis, which is the guide to the underworld. Also Wepawet, which is the opener of ways. And at the end, as y'all can see, all of them made it with each other, creating the humans. This is why they believe you have a choice, although they created a matrix to sway our decisions. We are literally at the end of a long battle for our souls. We will lose a lot of people because the enemy was able to change their perception. It is sad to see the amount of people that won't wake up in time, the sleeping church, which means the sleeping bodies. It's time to wake up before they pull a move that's going to lock you in fear, an extremely low vibrational state, which will be this invasion. of the UN, Uranus Neptune, which is the United Nations, along with the Elohim, because everything after Uranus shouldn't exist because they started experimenting on mankind. So they have to get rid of all of God's DNA on Earth under orders of the one living God. At the same time, our DNA will be upgraded. So this will never happen again. So I'm telling y'all this harsh truth so y'all be prepared for what's about to come and not fall for the psyop that this invasion isn't real, because people like me will not be here to tell you what's really happening. You have to use your own judgment while they're actively disconnecting you from God. It's going to be much harder than it already is. So don't get stuck in a low vibrational state, because it may prevent you from crossing heaven's gate. So I hope I answered some of y'all questions and sparked a couple of connections. Anyways, y'all know how to keep it. Be gods. Peace. Yo, check.
The fact that he did this, and my dad has been calling me about his check that he hasn't received, his retirement check, and this dude is doing this in a postal uniform, you know what I mean? I'm gonna tell my pops that's why he ain't got his check right now. But nah, I'm just playing. But listen, man, you know our package is being delayed right now because he in there making TikTok videos. But nah, man, see, the interesting thing about this, right, is, of course, the unknown, first and foremost, right? And everyone's beliefs. My thing is, and I think it's dope that everyone does, and they do their own research and they search out their beliefs and stuff like that, is that sometimes it brings us to a point to where we collide and we, you know what I mean? We can't have a conversation between our beliefs, causes a divide amongst us and our species of people and everything like that. So yeah, that'd be my only issue, man. But if this is something you believe, do the research just like he did. Write it out, sort it out, figure it out, and see. You know what I mean? But we don't know. So listen, man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this video, bro. And stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone.